The world gasped in collective disbelief. The cameras flashed, the headlines screamed, and millions held their breath. Then came the words that shattered hearts across the globe. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is battling cancer. The beloved royal, admired for her grace and resilience, now faced an unthinkable fight. But what truly sent shockwaves was not just the revelation of her illness. It was the final decision she and Prince William had made. It was a profound, so life-altering choice that left fans in tears and the monarchy at a crossroads. For weeks, speculation had run wild. Catherine's absence from public life had sparked endless rumors, with theories ranging from post-surgical recovery to marital strain. Yet, nothing prepared the world for what was about to unfold. When Kensington Palace finally broke the silence, the weight of their words was suffocating. Catherine was not just recovering, she was undergoing chemotherapy. The once radiant princess was in the fight of her life. The news sent ripples through every corner of the globe. Social media erupted, flooded with messages of support and sorrow. Fans, royal watchers, and world leaders alike paused to take in the reality of what was happening. How could someone so full of life, a mother of 3, a future queen, be facing something so terrifying? Wasn't she just smiling at a royal engagement? Wasn't she just leading charitable initiatives? How did it come to this? The announcement wasn't just about Catherine's illness, it was about a decision that would forever redefine the monarchy, their family, and their legacy. Prince William, standing steadfast by his wife's side, had been forced to choose between duty and love, tradition and humanity. The responsibilities of the future king weighed on his shoulders, yet his greatest concern was his wife's survival. The royal couple's choice was clear. Catherine would step away from royal duties indefinitely. No more public appearances, no more official engagements. For the first time in modern royal history, a future queen consort would prioritize her health over her obligations. It was a move that shattered royal precedent, yet it was the only choice they could make. The monarchy could wait, but Catherine's fight could not. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Tears, shock, uncertainty. Supporters gathered outside Buckingham Palace, leaving flowers and messages of encouragement. Social media turned into a sea of prayers and heartfelt tributes. Even the most hardened critics of the monarchy found themselves moved. World leaders, celebrities, and public figures sent their well wishes. The king himself, already facing his health challenges, made an unprecedented statement expressing unwavering support for his daughter-in-law. But beneath the formalities, one question lingered in every mind. Her journey was now more than just a personal battle. It was a test of love, resilience, and the strength of the monarchy. But how did this heartbreaking battle with cancer begin? She had always been the picture of elegance and strength, carrying the weight of royal expectations with effortless grace. But behind the carefully curated public appearances and poised smiles, something was changing. Observers noticed her absence from key events, her once radiant energy dimming ever so slightly. Whispers began circulating. Was she unwell, or was something more serious being kept from the public eye? And the truth was far more devastating than anyone could have imagined. It began subtly, hidden beneath the surface of her demanding royal schedule. Fatigue lingered longer than usual. Private engagements were quietly rescheduled. Then came the shocking announcement that Catherine had undergone major abdominal surgery. The palace assured the public that it was a planned procedure and that she would make a full recovery. Yet, in an institution known for controlling its narrative, the lack of specific details only fueled more speculation. Why was there no mention of the reason for the surgery? Why was the recovery timeline so vague? For weeks, the questions remained unanswered. Official updates were scarce, leaving space for theories to spread. Some speculated complications from a past condition. Others whispered about stress, exhaustion, or even pregnancy. The silence only intensified the mystery, and the world watched, waiting for Catherine to emerge and prove the rumors wrong. But she didn't. Then came the moment that sent a chill through the nation. In a recorded message, her voice calm but weighted with emotion, Catherine revealed the truth. The tests following her surgery had uncovered something no one had expected: cancer. The world seemed to pause as she spoke those words. The elegant future queen, a mother devoted to her children, was now facing a battle no title or privilege could shield her from. It was a revelation that carried more than just personal weight. The monarchy, already navigating a shifting landscape, now faced an emotional storm unlike any in recent memory. A royal battling cancer was not just a private struggle, it was a crisis that would reshape everything. Public figures, news outlets, and everyday citizens struggled to process what this meant. If Catherine, a woman known for her resilience, was vulnerable, what did this mean for the stability of the royal family? What did it mean for the future? The confirmation of her diagnosis shattered any lingering doubts. This was no rumor, no exaggerated speculation. It was real, and it was happening now. As the truth surfaced, the royal family faced a crisis like never before. For Prince William, the weight of his title had never felt heavier. As a future king, he had spent his life preparing for duty, for leadership, for the immense responsibility of carrying on the monarchy. But nothing had prepared him for this. Behind the palace walls, he was not a prince, not an heir. He was a husband, watching the woman he loved face a battle with no guarantees. The man who had always presented himself as composed and unwavering now found himself caught between the demands of the crown and the urgent reality of his wife's health. Their children, too young to fully understand the severity of the situation, could sense that something was different. George, the eldest, had grown more reserved, watching his father closely, trying to understand the unspoken weight in the air. Charlotte, always known for her spirit, became fiercely protective, refusing to let her mother out of her sight. And Louis, the youngest, continued to ask the innocent but heartbreaking questions no parent wants to answer. Their routine had changed. Catherine's absence from school runs and bedtime stories was noticed, and her once unwavering presence was now unpredictable. How do you explain to 3 young children that their mother is fighting a battle they cannot see? Inside the palace, reactions were carefully measured, statements were crafted with precision, and updates were released only when necessary. While the family was undoubtedly shaken, the institution itself had to maintain an air of control. The monarchy had weathered crises before, scandals, losses, and even abdications, but this was different. This was personal. Catherine was not just a royal figure, she was the face of a new generation, the woman expected to stand beside the future king as he led a modern monarchy. Her illness was not just a private tragedy, it was a public reckoning. For those who had watched the royal family for decades, it was impossible not to draw comparisons. Queen Elizabeth had endured health struggles in silence, carrying on with duty until the very end. Princess Margaret had faced her battles, often overshadowed by controversy. And of course, there was the lingering shadow of Princess Diana, whose vulnerability in the face of public scrutiny had changed the monarchy forever. But Catherine's crisis was unfolding in an era of constant connectivity, where speculation spread in an instant, where privacy was a luxury no longer afforded to those in power. The monarchy had always represented stability, a force that endured through centuries of upheaval. But now, with both the king and the future queen facing health battles, a new uncertainty loomed. Supporters rallied behind them, but questions grew louder. Could William continue his royal responsibilities while prioritizing his family? Would the institution adapt to this deeply personal crisis, or would it cling to tradition, demanding duty above all else? Catherine's illness had reshaped more than just their family life. It had reshaped the public's perception of what it meant to be royal. No longer untouchable, no longer distant figures bound by protocol, they had become painfully human. As the family struggled, Catherine and William were forced to make an impossible choice. The decision had been looming for weeks, heavy and unavoidable. Every option carried consequences, and every path led to an uncertain future. Behind closed doors, William and Catherine faced the most difficult conversation of their lives. The reality was clear: she could not continue as she had before. The demands of royal life, the endless public engagements, the pressure to always appear composed and in control. It was impossible now. The time had come to choose between duty and survival. Chemotherapy had already begun, a grueling process that drained her energy and left her fragile. Some within the palace had hoped she would push through and continue attending key events in a limited capacity. But William refused. His wife's health came before the monarchy, before tradition, before anything else. The idea of losing her, of their children growing up without their mother, was unthinkable. Catherine needed space, time, and the chance to fight this battle without the constant scrutiny of cameras and headlines. Really, royal advisors debated. Some feared the impact of her stepping back. What message would it send? Would it create instability? Would it weaken the image of the monarchy? But William was firm. He had already watched his mother be consumed by the weight of expectation. He would not let history repeat itself. After long discussions and sleepless nights filled with impossible questions, the final decision was made. Catherine would withdraw from public life indefinitely. No official duties, no royal appearances. Her focus would be entirely on her treatment, her family, and survival. For their children, the change was immediate. George, Charlotte, and Louis were used to seeing their mother juggling responsibilities, balancing royal duties with bedtime stories and school runs. Now, everything shifted. Their home became quieter and their routines adjusted. They spent more time with their father, who rearranged his schedule to be present for every moment he could. Conversations about their mother's health were carefully worded, honest yet hopeful. The weight of the situation was not lost on them. The decision's impact rippled through the royal household beyond their immediate family. King Charles, already battling his health struggles, was deeply affected. He understood the necessity of the choice, but also recognized the burden it placed on William. With Catherine stepping back, the future king would have to carry even more responsibility. Prince Harry, though distant from royal affairs, was said to have reached out, offering his support privately. The public reaction was mixed. Many sympathized, offering unwavering support and encouragement, but others questioned, what did this mean for the future of the monarchy? Could a future queen simply walk away from royal duties? Would William be able to balance his growing responsibilities alone? The decision had changed everything, rewriting expectations, challenging tradition, and proving that even the most powerful institutions had to make room for humanity. But their battle didn't end there. The media had its role to play in this storm. The silence had barely settled before the speculation began. Every detail, Catherine's absence from public life, carefully worded palace statements, and the lack of photographic evidence was dissected, and every possibility analyzed. Theories flooded social media, ranging from the absurd to the chilling. Some claimed she had disappeared altogether, while others suggested she was hiding a more severe illness than the palace had admitted. Even well-respected journalists, who usually tread carefully when covering royal matters, found themselves questioning what was happening behind closed doors. Then came the breach that shattered what little privacy she had left. The London clinic, where Catherine had undergone surgery, became the center of a disturbing scandal. Reports surfaced that unauthorized staff had attempted to access her private medical records. Desperate for answers, the palace refused to give. It was a violation of trust, an invasion of the most personal kind. For Catherine, who had spent years carefully managing her public image, it was a devastating reminder that she was never truly protected from the relentless pursuit of information. The intrusion sparked immediate backlash. Kensington Palace, already walking a tightrope between transparency and discretion, was forced to respond. A strongly worded statement condemned the actions, and an internal investigation was launched. The message was clear: Catherine's privacy was not up for debate, but in the court of public opinion, the damage had already been done. The breach only fueled more speculation. If the palace was truly being open about her condition, why would hospital staff feel the need to dig deeper? What was still being hidden? For those who remembered the media frenzy surrounding Princess Diana, the parallels were impossible to ignore. Decades earlier, relentless press intrusion had contributed to her isolation, her distress, and ultimately her tragic fate. Now, history seemed to be repeating itself. Paparazzi once again camped outside royal residences, online forums spread unverified claims, and every grainy image of Catherine, whether real or fabricated, was treated as breaking news. The cycle of obsession, misinformation, and invasive scrutiny had returned, this time targeting a woman who was fighting for her life. The ethics of royal media coverage had long been controversial. Where was the line between public interest and personal invasion? Did the world have a right to know every detail of Catherine's health, or was she entitled to the same privacy as anyone else battling cancer? Journalists defended their relentless pursuit of updates, arguing that Catherine was not just a private citizen, but a future queen. Supporters countered that no title, no level of fame justified stripping someone of their dignity during their most vulnerable moments. The pressure mounted, the headlines multiplied, and the scrutiny intensified, but even amid the chaos, Catherine fought with grace and resilience. Through the storm of speculation, the invasive headlines, and the weight of uncertainty, Catherine remained steadfast. Cancer had taken control of so much: her strength, her energy, her once flawless sense of normalcy, but it had not taken her will. Even as chemotherapy drained her physically, even as she endured the endless cycle of treatment and recovery, she fought with quiet determination. The world may have seen her stepping away from royal duties, but those closest to her knew she was waging the greatest battle of her life. William was by her side every step of the way. He had always been her protector, but now his role had shifted from royal partner to unwavering caregiver. Public engagements were rescheduled or cancelled altogether as he prioritized his time with her and their children. He shielded her from the chaos outside their home, ensuring that every moment she spent with their family was one of love, not stress. There were no grand displays, no carefully crafted PR statements, just a husband making sure his wife knew she wasn't facing this alone. For George, Charlotte, and Louis, the reality of their mother's illness was softened by love and reassurance. They saw her on her good days, smiling, telling them stories, making their home feel as warm as ever. And on the harder days, when exhaustion took its toll, they adjusted. George, wise beyond his years, took on a quiet sense of responsibility, offering small gestures of comfort. Charlotte refused to let Catherine feel alone, constantly at her side, offering her drawings, books, and anything to bring a moment of joy. Louis, still young and full of boundless energy, unknowingly provided the distraction she needed, reminding her that laughter was still a part of their lives. Despite everything, Catherine refused to let go of the causes closest to her heart. Though she stepped away from public life, her work continued in quieter ways. Through private meetings and behind-the-scenes efforts, she remained engaged in the charities she had devoted herself to for years: mental health awareness, children's welfare, and cancer research. She ensured that the organizations she championed knew they had her unwavering support, even from the shadows. The outpouring of love extended far beyond the palace walls. Across the world, messages of support flooded in. Fans left flowers, sent letters, and posted tributes on social media, sharing stories of how Catherine had inspired them. Celebrities and world leaders spoke out, offering words of encouragement and admiration. In a world often divided, her battle became a unifying force. A reminder that illness does not discriminate, that strength comes in many forms, and that even the most public figures deserve compassion in their most private struggles. Catherine's resilience was never about grand statements or dramatic declarations. It was in the way she faced each day with quiet courage, in the way she prioritized her family over expectations, in the way she carried herself with dignity despite the weight of the world watching. She was not just fighting for herself, she was fighting for the life she had built, for the people she loved, and for the future she still believed in. But beyond Catherine's battle, this decision had a greater impact on the monarchy itself. Catherine's illness had done more than shake the foundations of her family. It had forced the monarchy into unfamiliar territory. The royal family had always projected an image of strength, an unbreakable institution that endured through generations, but now, with both King Charles and the future Queen Consort battling health issues, the question loomed over Buckingham Palace: what happens next? For William, the weight of responsibility had never been greater. Already balancing the pressures of fatherhood and royal duty, he now found himself at a crossroads. With Catherine stepping back, he was forced to take on even more public-facing roles, representing the family at key events while ensuring that his wife and children remained his priority. But how long could he maintain this balancing act? Would he eventually have to make the difficult decision to temporarily step back himself, shifting focus entirely to his family? Some within royal circles whispered that it was a possibility, a shocking one, but not unthinkable. The situation also raised concerns about the stability of the monarchy itself. King Charles, already facing his battle with cancer, was in no position to carry the institution alone. His reign had barely begun, and now, with both his health and his daughter-in-laws in question, speculation about succession intensified. Would Prince William be forced to take on a more active leadership role sooner than expected? Would the monarchy see a period of transition unlike any in modern history? Meanwhile, the strained relationship between William and Prince Harry remained a point of contention. The brothers had grown distant, their lives moving in separate directions. But Catherine's illness had the potential to change everything. Some believed this crisis might serve as a bridge between them, forcing Harry to put past grievances aside and offer support. Others speculated that it would only deepen the divide, with Harry's absence during this difficult time further cementing the fractures within the family. The public watched closely, wondering if this moment would bring healing or drive the brothers further apart. Beyond the personal struggles within the royal family, the handling of Catherine's diagnosis also set a new precedent. Traditionally, royal health matters were shrouded in secrecy, disclosed only when necessary, but in the age of instant information, privacy was harder to maintain. The palace had been forced to navigate a delicate balance, revealing enough to quiet speculation while maintaining Catherine's dignity. Would this crisis lead to a shift in royal protocols regarding transparency? Would future health concerns be handled with more openness, or would the family retreat even further from public scrutiny? For the monarchy's image, the implications were profound. Catherine had long been one of the most beloved royals, a modern, relatable figure who bridged the gap between tradition and progress. Her illness had humanized the institution in a way no carefully curated statement ever could. Support for the royal family had surged in the wake of the news, but it also raised difficult questions. If the future of the monarchy depended on individuals rather than the institution itself, what happened when those individuals were no longer able to fulfill their roles? The future remained uncertain, and changes were inevitable. But even in the face of uncertainty, one thing remained clear: hope still shone through. Through every challenge, every moment of uncertainty, and every painful decision, Catherine and William's message to the world has remained clear: hope endures. Their journey has not been easy, and the road ahead remains uncertain, but their resilience, their unwavering commitment to each other, and their love for their family have been a beacon of strength for millions. From the very beginning, Catherine's battle has been about more than just her fight. It has become a symbol of courage for those facing similar struggles. Her openness about her diagnosis has sparked global conversations about early cancer detection, the importance of prioritizing health, and the emotional toll that illness takes on families. In sharing her story, she has given countless individuals the strength to seek medical care, to hold on to hope, and to fight even when the odds feel impossible. William has stood beside her, not as a prince, not as the future king, but as a husband devoted to the woman he loves. Their children, though young, have shown a remarkable ability to adapt, proving that even in the hardest moments, love and family can create a foundation of strength. The royal family has faced its share of trials, but through it all, Catherine and William have demonstrated that duty is not just about titles and appearances, it is about standing together, no matter the circumstances. The support has poured in from every corner of the world. Messages of encouragement, prayers, and tributes have flooded social media. Cancer survivors have shared their journeys, drawing inspiration from Catherine's strength. The royal family, often viewed as distant, has never felt more human. In a world often divided, this moment has brought people together, reminding them that illness does not discriminate, that vulnerability does not mean weakness, and that hope can exist even in the darkest of times. Catherine's story is still being written. She continues to fight, to heal, to embrace the life she has built with William and their children. And in doing so, she sends a powerful message, not just to the royal family, but to the world. No matter how difficult the road ahead, Catherine's courage continues to inspire the world. If Catherine's strength has moved you, subscribe for more powerful stories that inspire and uplift. Stay tuned, stay informed, stay inspired.